Hi Evelyn, hi Thais, hi Milena. So good to have you here tonight. Hi, good to see your face. I love, hey Thais, you're all very on time. It is just 8 o'clock and you logged in early. I love that commitment. That's really nice. In the meantime, we'll wait for the others to join. Yeah, if you want, you can grab yourself a little cup of tea, something to drink, and we'll get started in 2 minutes. And if you want, in the meantime, you can share, you can drop in the chat where you're joining from, what city, because I think we're having a pretty international vibe over here. Just so you all know, I am currently in Marbella, which is the south of Spain. Hi, Justine. So good to have you here tonight.
Hello.
Hi. We will start in 2 minutes. If you want, you can just grab yourself something cozy. You can grab yourself a tea, and we'll get started soon. Could somebody drop something in the chat just to be sure that it is working? Yes. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Milena, you are joining from Munich, Germany. Unfortunately, you cannot stay too long today, but you'll watch the recording. Perfect. You're joining from Maryland, USA. Wow, just seen from so far. That's amazing. The purpose of today's session is very much to just check in with ourselves and take stock as to where we're at with our health goals, our goals, how we're feeling in our body. And there's going to be a lot of reflection, but also a lot of letting go, identifying potentially what imbalances are happening, and then to create some new habits and some new routines that you'll walk away with today. I'll also share a little workbook for you all so we can work in it together throughout the session. We'll wait another 1 minute before we get started. So for those who just joined, Ashling, amazing, you're joining from Marbella. Okay, so we're very close to each other. I'm also currently in Marbella. We will get started. Hi, Holly. So good to have you here tonight. Just to confirm, can you all see my screen perfectly? You see just the presentation? Yes? Okay, awesome. Awesome. Let's go. So we have a pretty international group here tonight, which is amazing. Yeah, I'm personally here in Spain and I'm in Marbella. Okay, so good to see you all here tonight. We've got a pretty nice group. It's still pretty intimate, but we've got quite a lot of girls, which is amazing. So today we will walk away with a plan. You will have a workbook to take home. However, it's not about needing a plan. It's about feeling safe in your body. So that's the whole intention of today. And yeah, let's just settle in and also set the intention to be present the next hour. The call will take around 45 minutes to maximum 1 hour. So lately, and myself, I'm always multitasking, having my phone with me, watching the television whilst working. It's so distracting, and also for our nervous system, it's very overstimulating. So let's set the intention together here today to be really present for the next hour and really just focusing on ourselves, because all of you have shown up today for yourself and taking care of yourself. So before we get started, I'd love to hear from all of you. What energy did you bring into the space today? Are you feeling tired? It's the end of the year almost. We're actually 49 days away from Christmas. Are you feeling a bit scattered? Are you feeling grounded or relaxed? Feeling quite confident? What's the energy that you are feeling today? Keta is feeling relaxed. You had a busy day, errands this morning, and now you are just flowing. That's amazing. That's perfect. Holly, nauseated as in nauseous, feeling a little bit sick? Yes. Okay. If a tea would help, feel free to grab something to make yourself feel better. Ashling, feeling a bit overwhelmed with this time of the year. You've come to the right place, because it's exactly this overwhelmed feeling that will shift in this next session. And Justine, I'm just feeling a bit tired, amazed at how little is left of the year. I'm surprised myself. We are almost at the end of the year. It is less than 2 months. but it's still enough time to make ourselves feel better and also to set new intentions. We don't need to start in January with new intentions, we can start today. Now, what do you want to feel by the end of this hour? What do you want to walk away with? Feeling more grounded, feeling less nauseous, feeling a bit more calmed down in your body. Maybe feeling a little bit more confident with the next couple of months ahead, more connected. Yeah, you'd love to feel more grounded. All beautiful words: connection, feeling grounded. So I would like you all to take together with me, because we don't breathe enough, calm and healthy. A very deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Okay, now let's get into it. So the biggest aspect of today is we'll reflect on your year. What worked, what didn't, and actually just take stock at where we're at right now. And we'll reconnect with our cyclical nature through both hormonal, but also lunar awareness. We're going to release habits that no longer serve us. We're also going to design new rituals that align with your body and what you currently need. So we're going to be identifying them right now. And then really leaving with more of a feeling of calmness and more intentionality stepping into the winter season. So all those feelings of feeling a bit more connected and feeling a bit more calm, that's going to be my intention for all of you to walk away with today. But first, who the hell am I? Because some of you I haven't seen yet, are new, and some familiar faces. So yeah, I'm happy to have all of you here, happy to get to know all of you. And each one of you also makes a difference for being here, and it makes the group complete. So hello everybody, my name is Ruby. I am a certified menstrual cycle coach and hormonal health specialist. Now on the right, I created a little compilation of a couple of images that would represent me. You see the Belgian flag, you see from Sex and the City, girls sitting together, and I put there as well, I speak 5 languages, was raised in an international family. I am a coffee lover, and I do believe that hormonal health and coffee can coexist. And yes, I'm that person that loves a run club, waking up early instead of going to sleep late. And if anybody is with me right now, is probably for early people a late hour, and focusing is probably harder. And also I'm a massive chocolate fan. So chocolate is very good for you. Depends how you take it, but chocolate can be a really beneficial thing for our cycle as well. And then over here, you see me sitting down with a friend, and we're exchanging information. She is a business coach, and just I love sharing knowledge and helping others, and vice versa within our friend circle. And I'm curious over here who can see themselves in how I used to show up before. And I used to live in constant push mode. I was overtraining, was so focused on giving my all every single day. Carbs were not that important. Loving the fast life, and impatience comes with that. And calling period pain normal is, and if anybody's relating with that, type a yes in the chat, because that's how I used to show up all the time. And just hustling. And everything had to go faster. Yes, Holly. Yeah. Lord, the hustle. So that felt most important to me. The end of the day, productivity. It was a good day because I was productive, but did I serve my body? Well, on the left side, you see a very little, very, very small picture of me in blue. And that's actually me when I was picked up by an ambulance and brought to the hospital because I had bled. I could not stop bleeding during my period, to a point where I was living by myself and I had nobody else around me to call. And if I wasn't going to call the ambulance, I was probably going to faint. So that was a pretty scary moment. And that was because I was ignoring a lot of signs my body was telling me. I used to have incredibly painful periods. Now, thank God, I don't have any painful periods yet and feel comfortable when I even travel on my period, which is still a shocking reality to me. But I did ignore a lot of signs. And in the corner, you see me cycle tracking, and that was the first cycle tracker I had ever created. And because I also became so fascinated, I wanted to learn everything there was about the topic. So a mix of my pain and also fascination got me into this journey. And now my whole purpose is replacing this feeling for women of feeling helpless, because I've felt absolutely helpless even after going to a gynecologist for acne, a dermatologist for acne, a gynecologist for my pains, and a doctor for answers. None of them made me feel with more awareness. So I help women feel much more in control, having stress-free, more predictable cycles, more steady energy, and just more comfortable in their skin. So that's a little bit more about me and my journey. And this image right here, this graph, is what opened my eyes and got my fascination going. I was fascinated how this cyclical flow is within all of us. And when I discovered this years ago, I wanted to learn everything there was to know about the cycle. We can actually be more productive. That was my first thought, always about productivity. We can actually be smarter and be more creative when we want, and be more hardworking at some times of the month, and show up better. But then on the other hand, I also realized we can actually reduce symptoms, and our period, how it shows up, is actually a sign of our health. So we are kind of lucky that we have a monthly doctor's visit that our body is giving us. So our body moves in seasons, not in straight lines. And here you see on the left side how we women have a cyclical flow, and on the right side how men have a it's not even a flow, a linear line. And I'd love to know from all of you, who is aware of our 4 phases? Type yes in the chat if you all know about the 4 phases. Holly, yes. Anybody else? Milena, yes. Ashley, yes. Okay, so this is already a huge step. That's amazing. And who knows that there's a connection between the phases and the seasons, such as winter, spring, autumn? Yes, amazing. I love this. I feel like for some it's a pretty new concept, so amazing how for some of you it's already pretty known. So I'm going to take you very briefly through this cyclical flow that we have inside of us. And as you can see in our menstrual phase, that's when our hormones are at their lowest, which also correlates with how we show up. It's normal to have less energy. It's normal to be a bit more inward within this phase, and also how you would look as well at the winter season externally. That energy that winter carries, that's also internally how kind of we are flowing. And the seasons are kind of like mirrors to our cycle. And as we shift from that bleeding menstrual phase, which is our winter, to our spring phase, which is follicular phase, the energy also shifts. And I always love to compare that hormone estrogen like a Beyonce hormone. And it's rising and rising and rising from day 7 onwards. You probably feel that shift when it happens, up to day 14 to 17. And when that rise happens, that energy shifts as well. And it's a very outward energy. It's much more loud, experimental, vibrant energy. And as kind of that follicular, you're deeper into that follicular phase, it's also very similar to how spring is. You want to try new things. Things start to blossom again. You want to go out again. And you kind of go from this hibernation back to this outward energy. And and kind of like flowers, we blossom open again. And it's a young energy, it's an outward energy. And then we have our ovulation. And ovulation phase is when that Beyonce hormones is at its highest. We naturally, and also this depends from person to person, and depends also how, if your hormones are balanced or not. This is typically the most energetic phase of the cycle because our estrogen is at our highest. And also in terms of strength, estrogen is a pro-inflammatory hormone, so it actually fights inflammation. And when we also work out, we do a lot of high intensity and a lot of weight training, we can push ourselves because our estrogen helps as an anti-inflammatory naturally. So that really helps as well. And then we shift again from summer to autumn. And autumn is that luteal phase, and that energy shifts as well. And instead of Beyonce being there, there's another hormone, which is kind of like a calming, peaceful, grounding hormone called progesterone. And that hormone starts to rise. Obviously, it's only there when we have ovulated, and not everybody ovulates every single cycle. And even when you are having a healthy cycle, it could be that sometimes you skip an ovulation, or when you're closer to menopause, you could skip an ovulation. And when that happens, that progesterone, that calming, soothing hormone that makes us feel more sleepy, makes us feel more protective and inwards and not anxious at all, that one might not always be present. So normally it's a beautiful hormone, and it's again going back into that yin energy, that inward energy, back into that autumn phase. And as you can see with the graph, we're going back to winter, and then that happens over and over again every single month. So that's the beauty of the cyclical flow. And as you can see with men, they have a 24-hour cycle. So in the morning, they wake up, they have a testosterone peak, it goes really high. That's when they're most productive, focused, they get everything done. And then throughout the day, it kind of goes downwards. And that's when they just become more hibernating, and that repeats itself every single day. So our cycle is also connected to the moon around us. And before we go any further, type in the chat what phase of your cycle you're in today. And if you're not sure, you can write not sure, but you can or say spring or follicular, whatever you connect most to. Pregnant. The moon phase. Not sure. Okay. Winter. Not sure. Okay. Question for those who are not sure. Is this because of potential imbalances, or is this because you haven't tracked your cycle yet? Follicular phase. Okay, so we got a bit of a mix over here. So I am very curious as well to know if you notice any energetic, emotional, or even bleeding changes when it's full moon or new moon. Are you very sensitive to that? And type full moon or new moon to whenever you feel this shift happening the most. So today we are actually full moon. So I'm not sure if anybody is feeling any particular changes. Okay, full moon. And you're in winter, Holly. That's an interesting one. So today is actually the full moon. And bleeding on the full moon, and you'll be ovulating on the new moon. And this is also, Thais, you don't remember, but I know my period would come either full or new, but it changes. Yeah. I've had a hysterectomy, but retained my ovaries, so I don't think I can track. Okay, gotcha. So those who bleed with the full moon right now, it's not always consistent. We probably go through all of them, but they're also called red witches. And why is that? It's connected to leaders, creators, healers, because you channel your energy outward when you're bleeding. And when you bleed, it's actually a very powerful time of our cycle, because our left and our right hemisphere in our brain is 25% more connected. What does that mean? That means that our intuition is incredibly strong. So that logical and that creative part of our brain is speaking to each other much more intensely. And it could be that now we've got really vivid dreams, that you feel incredibly creative and thoughts running through your mind. That is usually what your bleed is doing. But then on top of that, the moon, the full moon, which is very bright, is you're the Scarlet Witch. The full moon, which is normally very outward, very vocal, very social, when you have that on your period, it's a very kind of powerful way to channel your energy. And today is a good day actually for what we're doing right now, for reflection, for letting go what no longer serves us. And for those who bleed with the new moon and ovulate with the full moon, is also seen as a white witch. So it's connected to fertility and renewal. And the new moon is typically very good to set an intention and plant a seed. Just like ovulation, that's when you plant a seed. And then during your bleed, you let go. So these are just little patterns and energetic mirrors, and the moon can act as a reflection tool for our inner world. And that's a beautiful tool as well to use, and especially for those who don't have a cycle right now, who are pregnant, or for those who just don't have a cycle or are in menopause. It's a very nice way to still connect with your cyclical flow. So as a first step for today, I'm going to share with all of you a document. So I'm sharing it in the chat. And please go to the chat and click on the document. But before typing in it, make a copy. So it's through Canva, and then on top you can make a copy so you have your own version. I'll give you all a second to do that. And if anybody can't see it, just let me know in the chat. So your period is kind of like a built-in release system. When estrogen and progesterone drops at the end of your cycle, your body's literally asking for rest and for letting go. So before we dive into the reflections, I'd love for you to share maybe what is the one biggest struggle, or what is the hardest throughout your cycle? Is it a symptom? Is it painful periods? Is it PMS? Is it mood swings? What's the one thing that feels really hard? Do I have to create a new document to make a copy, or just rename this to me? Normally you have to create it. Let me just do it with you. So you go to File and then make a copy. Got it? Yeah, awesome. So when you've made your copy, type in the chat which part has been the hardest. Not knowing if this will be an angry period or a sad period. I'm a Cancer too. My moods are always hard to predict. Yeah, I think we're naturally emotional beings in the most beautiful and positive way. For myself, it used to be not knowing how my period itself would be, because I had anticipatory anxiety, feeling so scared of how painful my period was going to be, and not knowing if I was going to be dying in bed out of painfulness, and not knowing if I would be able to show up to work. So just that you're aware, the unpredictable period, the pain, the anxiety, these are all patterns. These are not flaws, it's just your body speaking to you. And these are all things to take note of, because these are called cycle signs and are incredibly important to take note of when they show up. Because whenever you have your period, or even when you have your PMS period, it's good to look back and think, why has that shown up? How have I shown up? Who have I not have a boundary with? How have I eaten that maybe didn't serve me? What big life changes have I experienced that might have caused this to happen? So now I'd like you to open your document, and we're going to start with the reflection questions. And the first question is, what am I proud of this year? Big or small? Let's reflect on the last couple of 10 months that have passed already, and write down some accomplishments. Okay, now the second question is, what habits supported your body, energy, or confidence the last couple of months? Think back of any habits that served you, that you may be not that conscious of, but actually really act as a foundation for you. And then last one, write down what did not work and what potentially caused you pain, and how did your body try to tell you this? Because there might have been a couple of things. There might have been some symptoms that keep on showing up and you know you shouldn't be doing that, or you know your body doesn't like that, but you keep on repeating the same patterns because the pain wasn't bad enough. So write down what hasn't worked. So the second step over here, when we see what did work and what didn't, the next step is to let go. Because we can't build new energy on old expectations, or a new foundation on an old foundation that was very wobbly. So the next step is about clearing out and just create space for a new flow. And yeah, every bleed is your way of starting again. And those who are in their bleed right now, it's such a beautiful way to practice this already, but the more we rest in our menstrual phase, and the more we respect our yin energy. So it means whenever we plan anything, have it only be with that one close friend, and choose that restaurant that is incredibly calming and peaceful, not triggering. And maybe sleep in the next couple of days, or go to sleep early when possible. And when you really rest in your menstrual phase, you'll show up with much more energy in the next couple of weeks of your cycle. So we are gonna write down the next couple of reflections of releasing. So first one is, what pattern or belief keep me in the same energy loop? Okay, and then the second question is, what habit or thought drains me the most? Because a lot of symptoms don't come just because of physical things we do, but also emotionally, what we hold on to. And then the last question, what version of me am I ready to release with love? Because sometimes we tend to hold on old beliefs or old ways of being that feel safe and familiar to us, but it doesn't mean that it serves us or it doesn't reflect who we want to be. So write down the version that you're ready to let go today. Okay, now going to the next part. Earlier, you all shared many symptoms, such as, currently not feeling very grounded or restless, and dealing with this pre-anxiety before your period, even motivation dipping. And now we're going to look as to why these are happening. And it's not necessarily about discipline or weakness, because our hormones actually also have a hierarchy. Kind of like the Maslow hierarchy, our hormones have that as well. And that's why I put the house next to it, because it kind of represents a house. We first need to look at the foundation and making sure the foundation is very, very stable so that the top parts don't crack. So the foundation is blood sugar, stress, so your nervous system, and detoxification, which is your gut and your liver. So when that is not very stable, your mood, your energy, your sleep, all of that starts to wobble. So usually I think people tend to go to the top and think, I want to improve my sleep. I'll take extra melatonin, or I'll take extra something else, anything that really serves the top. But we need to look at the foundation first before doing anything, because that's going to be long lasting. So now we're going to look at the 3 foundation and help you identify which one needs most attention today. Question 1, and I would love for you all to feel into which question feels most relatable, and could be all 3 of them, but let's try to pick one. Do I often feel an afternoon crash, sudden irritability, or guilty after snacking? Do I feel like I can't rest even when I have time, or that I'm constantly on? You're always just on, kind of that tired and wired feeling. And the last one is, do you feel bloated, foggy, or really heavy before your bleed? So type in the chat 1, 2, or 3 to whichever one is resonating with you the most. To feel like you can't rest. Yeah, that's would be one I would typically revert to as well. Milena 3, feeling bloated. Evelyn 1, feel like an afternoon crash. Yeah, I can see that. So it all starts with awareness, and even a small act like this of checking in with ourselves already helps to regulate your nervous system, because you're bringing awareness to a certain symptom or signal that your body is giving you. Now let's look at what might support each one of them. So for Holly, saying 2, this is most likely connected to your nervous system. And yeah, so the whole purpose here that we want to create with small habits is having a really calm mind and a clear mind and a calm body. So yeah, so nervous system is a really important one to work on, and that translates to all the other symptoms that might be happening. So one little practice that can be done for your nervous system is very simple. It's like we've done today, just breathing and taking a deep breath in through the nose and then breathing out through the mouth. And that small practice, and reminding yourself sometimes whenever you feel overwhelmed to do that, it already helps to bring awareness. Another part is light before phone. So what I mean with this is, when waking up in the morning, let's try to not instantly have phone light from your devices, but instead go outside. And even when you're indoors all day, the first thing to do before 30 minutes within waking up is going and standing outside on the window and putting your face in the sun. And that activates your hormones to already start to reduce that melatonin and start to kind of wake up your body in a very calming way. And yeah, this small pause and this small moment of presence also creates safety in the body. And the last one is scheduled pause ritual. So this can be even as simple as putting a reminder on your phone every 2 hours of breathe, or it can be a little affirmation, and just something to make yourself slow down for a second, be present, and check in with yourself again. So these are so incredibly simple. You're so welcome. And what I would suggest you to do now is choose one, because sometimes we tend to want to do everything, but start with one and stick to it, and that's the most important part. And then we have number 3. So Milena, you said 3. That is connected to the gut and liver. So often we don't clear out toxins enough, and our body's kind of stagnant. And this can also show up as constipation, can show up as bloating, and or even puffy face. And a big part, a really good habit here, is having enough fiber intake. So why is that so? And fiber can be from chia seeds, from vegetables, are incredibly important, because that potential estrogen that might have been overflowing in your body, that needs to get that. Beyonce hormone is amazing, but we don't always want it in our body. After ovulation, we kind of want that calming hormone to step in and that Beyonce to get out. Otherwise, she's going to be too loud and create anxiety. So what we want to do here is that fiber, especially after ovulation, increase that, because it's going to bind to the estrogen, and the estrogen is going to be flushed out. And that's what we want to get rid of. And that's going to create more balance in your body. A second thing is mineral water. Huge fan of this habit, and that's first thing in the morning. Have a little pinch of sea salt and lemon, and it will clear your liver, and it's incredibly good as well for acne or any stagnation in the body. And then the last one is nightly liver tea. So I'm having it right now, and it's just simple calming tea like chamomile tea. And the warm water as well, it helps to, it supports liver enzymes, and it's all about habits and how you create something. So even ritualizing this, it puts your body in a state of calm, and also that connection with your gut. It's like a moment that we can actually rest and let go. And then the third one, which is actually the first one, Evelyn, is blood sugar. So here it is really important to have steady energy throughout the day, because that might not be there. And if you chose this one, you might be experiencing a lot of energy highs and then crashes and feeling tired and wanting to nap. And the first important one is protein before coffee. So this prevents a cortisol spike of happening and just stabilizes that morning glucose. So absolutely have your coffee. I have my coffee every day and I have it in the morning, but just make sure to first put a layer of food as a foundation. And then secondly, it's no multitasking meals. So some of you might have a dinner right now during the call. I am guilty of sometimes watching Netflix when eating, or eating in a space that's so loud around me whilst being on my phone and actually having a book in front of me. And all these things, it takes away attention from our food. And our body doesn't catch up with our digestive system. And when we don't multitask, it stimulates our digestion more. And it also puts more attention to being present and chewing more. And it also avoids us from overeating. And the third habit is walking after meals. I think in some places they call it the hot girl walk. I don't know if you have any friends around you that you're sitting with for lunch, but this can be a really beautiful ritual to bring in, because it lowers that post-meal glucose naturally and really creates a bit more calm and ease in your body, a bit more awareness as well. So these are just a couple of starting points. Feel free to also take a picture of the slide if you want to. And one thing I'm going to ask from all of you is to choose one. Choose one habit from all of those, because it's much more about consistency than about doing everything and then not sticking to it. And these are just starting point and just one small step. This is not going to be the solution, but it's already going to help. And now once you've chosen awareness after autopilot, that's where change happens. So we're going to choose your new flow and have devotion over discipline, just this choice that we make towards ourselves. And we're not trying to control, we're not trying to fix, we just want to choose how we want to feel and take a bit more ownership of ourselves. So let's go back to our journaling notes. And at step 3, we're going for devotion over discipline, and we're going to write down, what do I want to feel each morning this winter? What energy do you want to embody? And then secondly is, what energy or word will guide me through this season? So this is going to be an important one, because this one will anchor you the next couple of months. So what word are you choosing this season? Choose a good one, because we're sticking with it. And what's one small habit that will anchor me daily? And that could be the habit that you chose right before. Make sure to write it down in your notes. Okay. Now, I would love for you all to share your word of the season in the chat, because right now we're going to put much more awareness to this and much more importance to this word and presence. It also creates a little bit more accountability for yourself once sharing and declaring your word. And also when you repeat small rituals, your body starts to trust you again, and steady energy is created through trust. So Thais is saying presence. That is beautiful. Serenity, beautiful word. Awareness. I'm choosing commitment. Calm mind. Beautiful. Okay, now that you've all shared your word and also your, you've written down your habit, let's anchor this into our body, and we'll do a little grounding practice together. And this is a way to signal your nervous system that it's safe to slow down, and also to really settle into what you just committed to in terms of your habit and your word. So place one hand over your heart and one hand over your womb space. And if you're comfortable, you can close your eyes, and we're going to slowly inhale for a count of 4 through the nose. Hold for a moment and exhale for 6. Two more times. You're going to inhale for 4. Hold and exhale for 6. Now you can do one more time on your own count. And you can just thank the version that carried you to get this far. But also now it's time to release what's no longer serving you. Okay, you can open your eyes. And we are going to the last part of the reflection of today, and which is integration. And I would love for you all to share what's one small act that you'll start doing from tomorrow to honor this new flow. And every time you follow through on this, Holly said, the breathing exercise, your body learns that this is a safe thing for me to do, and I can repeat doing this again. Evelyn, walk after a meal. It's a really helpful one. I started implementing that as well, and it really creates a calm mind, because then food doesn't become that safety. It's more that our body starts to feel safe without needing to grapple around us. Thais set a daily reminder on my phone for deep breaths for presence. Amazing, that's beautiful. Milena doing my daily breath work as usual in Bali. I haven't done it since I am in Europe. I feel you. I was also in Bali for 6 months, and it's a very spiritual space, and there's much more, I guess, influences to keep going with these practices. And then when we're back into other or colder countries, it's harder to honor that flow. So I love that you'll continue doing the breath work that you usually did in Bali. So as we come to the end of today's session, I just want you all to remember that you don't need a whole new plan. You just need a small habit or flow that feels comfortable and safe. And this can start as easily as what we did today. Really taking note of and celebrating the wins and of that you've gone through the year, just even the small wins. Letting go of taking, first of all, stock of what doesn't serve us and letting that go, even if it's one small thing, and choosing a new intention and habit to start from today, or at least tomorrow morning. And let's all just take one more breath in, all together. Exhale. So it's all about not waiting for January. We don't need a fresh start. We don't need to wait until a certain moment. Usually our body intuitively already knows what it needs. So I'd love to offer a little accountability. If this is something that would help you and you'd feel proud to share, feel free to tomorrow take a picture of starting your breath work or going for your hot girl walk or any other practice, and feel free to share it with me on Instagram, and I'll definitely celebrate you, and if you want, can hold you accountable for at least the start of the journey. And yeah, the good news is the first step is awareness. It always starts with awareness. So even being able to identify today which core imbalance could be the main part that needs nourishment right now, that already helps. And yeah, in today's theme for the winter reset, I also see that we're perfectly on time. I'd love to offer 5 free hormonal health mapping calls for next week. And this is specifically for women who are ready to start a lifestyle that feels more energetic, feels more in flow, and also focused and grounded. So what we would do over here is we're going to look at your current health. We're going to figure out which core imbalance might be taking place because of certain symptoms that you might be experiencing. And I'll share some personalized practices to help you create much more consistency and clarity throughout the month. So if this feels something that you would love to do, send me a DM on my Instagram with the word flow. And for the first 5 women, I'll send a link. so that you can book your spot for next week. So there's going to be now a little bit time for questions, and the last thing I wanted to share is over here just a couple of amazing things to celebrate, and I'm very proud of the women who have followed through and shown their commitment, and these things are possible. And here I had a client who texted me that she had 100% pain-free periods, which was to me mind-blowing because I dealt with painful periods for years and years and years. And here on the right side, I feel a bit more at home in my body. And I think that would be my biggest goal for all of you, is to feel really at home in your body. I think that's the most beautiful feeling you could ever feel. And then I had a menopausal woman who hasn't woken up sweaty in the middle of the night. So that was a huge win. And just having a higher energy. So these are all, everybody's body, by the way, is unique. We all have a different cycle. It could be that it's 21 days to 35 days, or maybe non-existent right now. We all have a different body composition, different Ayurveda, and we all have different symptoms. So there is no one size fits all, and we all also have a different experience of our cycle and different things to celebrate. So just to share that there is no one size fits all, and that's also why personalized support is so important. Unlike how doctors often view it and give a pill for everything, we're all unique. So if any of you, we have 4 more minutes, I'd love to give the opportunity to ask any questions, and if not, feel free to share maybe your biggest takeaways from today, what you really enjoyed. And yeah, thank you all for coming. I love that you all showed up for yourself, and I hope this was really helpful. I also added at the little, your little journal that I provided, the workbook, there's going to be an extra bonus step that you'll see, and that's a weekly or a daily reflection that you can do for yourself. So you can keep it and maybe implement it from tonight onwards. Holly, I say, okay, amazing. Looking forward to it, Holly. Thais loved the moon connection as well as the specific recommendations based on how we felt. Yeah, I think now it's full moon, so take the opportunity to look outside. It should be super bright. And I think it's at the lowest it's been this year, or so my friend told me yesterday, who loves the moon. So I'll have a look as well. You're so welcome, everybody. Okay, if there's no more questions, I wish you all a beautiful evening. Thank you all for being here. And if you have even any questions, feel free to text me on Instagram. That is so great. Thank you, Ruby and Holly. My biggest takeaway was knowing how to feel calm again. That's beautiful. You're so welcome. Good night, everybody.